professionals, we receive on average 105 emails per day. That means that we can spend about 28% of our time, 28% of every day, 28% of every week, just simply dealing with email. So when we have that much email in our inbox, we have to make decisions about which emails we're actually going to open, which ones we're going to set aside or ignore, and which ones we're simply going to delete. And the way that we make that decision, or the way we make those decisions, is by looking at who the email is from, and then we also look at the subject. So the subject becomes very important in determining whether or not we're going to open the email, we're going to ignore it, or we're even going to delete it. And you can see how this becomes even more important when we're looking at email from a device or from a smartphone. There might even be some times when your audience looks and sees, oh, this is an email from Alan, say, and then they might look at the subject line here, and then all they'll do is just read the teaser part or the opening part of the email, and they might believe that they have enough information or that they understand the message just based on the subject in combination with the opening part of the email. So really the subject becomes equivalent to a click here button, because what we're trying to do is entice our audience to click here to find out more information. So our subject really has to be specific and useful for our audience. And if we take a look at this example here, let's say in my inbox I have a message that says 3 tips. Okay, this is my subject line here. 3 tips for effective email subject lines. So I know that this email is about tips on how to write effective email subject lines. That in combination with the teaser part of the email where I can see tip number 1 is that I need to include specific information. Now, since I have this information here, I know that if I open up this email, I'm going to see 2 additional tips. So again, you want to make sure that your subject line is useful and specific enough to convince your audience to open up your email. Okay, let's look at another example. So let's say, for example, you can't remember when an assignment is due in our class. So you want to send me an email and you want to find out that information. So you're going to try to find out when is the assignment due. Well, here are a couple of different ways that you can word your subject. So in this first example, you're sort of just saying, I have an assignment question or a question about this assignment. But look at this second example here. Not only are you indicating that it's a question about the assignment, but you're saying assignment number 5, due date and time. So before I ever open up this email, I know that your question is, when is assignment number 5 due? So again, when you start writing emails, it is so important that your subject be useful and specific, because you're trying to convince your audience that they should spend their time in delving into your message. Okay, next we're going to look at creating a signature block like this one here, and this is one of the first things that you can do to start communicating professionally.